From the studios in San Diego, California, this is Mixed Up Sports on mixedupsports.com, powered by twitch.tv, here on this Monday, the 15th day of February 2016. Krusha's not here today dealing with personal issues, but I would like to welcome back Nick Sexton, sitting to my left, back from illness. Nick, how you doing today?
Doing great.
And we'll begin today with the NBA's All-Star Weekend, more specifically Saturday night's dunk contest. And the one question that still emanates from that dunk contest is, how did Aaron Gordon not win?
I mean, I feel like in this dunk contest, I mean, without a doubt, this is one of the best dunk contests we've seen in recent history. With Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine going back to back. I think it was something like 3 rounds of perfect scores until Aaron Gordon's dunk where he pretty much a triple clutch dunk, and he got a 47 for it, which I guess it's more of a technical dunk, but that should have gotten 50. And
I mean, that was one of those dunks where you're listening to Kenny Smith, you listen to them, he changed his mind mid-dunk what he wanted to do. He went full back over his head, full tomahawk, then he went back down and then back up and over. That was a 50 to me.
Yeah, and it wasn't more that Aaron Gordon lost this dunk contest, or that Zach LaVine won it. It was more that there needed to be a winner, and if there could have been 2 winners, that would have been fine with me. But
yeah, but that was his second dunk from the free throw line, though.
I did have a little bit of an issue with that because of how, I mean, it was right after another, not the originality that Aaron Gordon had, and so it's a tough place to be put in. And I mean, granted, it was his second dunk from the free throw line, but it was a dunk from the free throw line.
To be honest, it wasn't even. It was a step and a half in.
Yeah.
I think the thing that put it over the top for the judges, I think, in that spot was the first one. He just went straight up from the free throw line. This one, he goes through the legs, but still, I mean, if you're going to give Aaron Gordon's a 47 on that one, you got to give that one a 47 or at least a 46. That's not as impressive as changing your mind mid-dunk, going through the legs, and then back over. That's something that has not been done, or at least that I've seen.
I think another thing that plays into it was the crowd, because with seeing it in real time, at first I saw Aaron Gordon's dunk and it was like, I mean, that's all right. But then as you watch more and more of the replays, it just got more and more impressive. But for the fans right at the initial dunk, it probably wasn't, the reaction that Zach LaVine dunking from the free throw line was. And so that might have had something to do with it, that they might have, the crowd noise might have had a part in that score. But I agree that Aaron Gordon should have been a 50, and I don't know how long it would have been going on for them to finally settle it.
Probably still be going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I don't think I've seen a dunk contest where it went that long tied with perfect scores. It was an amazing dunk contest to watch, and I'm looking forward to next year where Aaron Gordon could possibly be getting his revenge against Zach LaVine.
I mean, you'd hope in a situation like that. But, of course, the one dunk that everyone's talking about is not the dunk that LaVine won the game with, that LaVine won the contest with. It was the dunk that's seated over the mascot, and he pulled that mascot out 3 times for 3 incredible dunks. But when you go fully from a seated position, switch hands under your legs and slam, if you're going to break the rules on any dunk and give him like an 11, that's the one.
Yeah, that dunk was just ridiculous, considering that the mascot is something like 7 feet tall. And
I think he was on the hoverboard, too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Grandy pulled out the mascot a lot, but it was impressive nonetheless. Like you mentioned, to be seated in midair.
He pulled out the mascot a lot, but he did a different thing with him every single time. It wasn't the same as whatever. He pulled 3 different dunks with that mascot, so that I don't mind that at all. If he was pulling the same dunk with the mascot, then I have a problem with it. But
Yeah, I mean, he should have won the contest off of that dunk alone. I mean, that was it was ridiculous to see him just fully seated in air and then uh, under the legs. I mean, one of the best dunks I've seen at the dunk contest.
yeah, that's one where if I were Levine, I know I'm a competitor, but I'm sitting there going, dunk, give it to him, dunk.
Yeah,
But before that, we had the 3-point contest, and Klay Thompson lost to Stephen Curry last year. This year, he had some of that aforementioned revenge, and he definitely got what he wanted. He definitely got it.
yeah. I mean, it like you mentioned, he didn't come away with it last year, and then the Splash Brothers go head to head again in the 3-point contest, and I mean, they're both amazing 3-point shooters. You can't take any of that away from them, but I mean, it was a great performance by Klay Thompson. I believe was something. Do you have like 27 in the last round or something?
Yeah, he had
Yeah,
23 to get to the final, and he had 27 in
yeah.
the
That's
last.
that's just that's ridiculous. He had 27 in a 3-point contest, but he definitely deserved it, and it'll be interesting to see that.
I think he knocked down what was it, 7 of his last 8, including all
Wow,
on the last rack. I think is what he had.
wow. Talk about a strong finish.
Yeah,
It'll definitely be interesting to see the rivalry between Klay Thompson and Steph, at least in the 3-point contest throughout the next couple years. But I imagine that after practice or during practice, they must have something like this where Klay and Steph will just go head to head, taking threes just to see what they'll get. So it was definitely a good 3-point contest to watch and an amazing performance by Klay Thompson.
and he even said in his post game, he even said in his acceptance interview that he has never had a teammate on his team that was a better shooter than he was. He was always the best shooter on the team, so this was definitely a personal challenge for him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's trying to prove that he's a better shooter than Steph, and Steph is trying to keep his reign as the best shooter in the NBA. It's interesting to watch as how I mean, with these two great shooters on one team, it's fun to watch them play.
It just go. I mean, and just go to that team. I mean, when you have 3 of the top 10 players in the NBA on your team, it's no wonder they're what 49-4
Yeah,
at this
it's
point in the year.
and
It's
I
no
mean
wonder.
for teams going up against them, there's nothing you can do because you can't D up too tight or else they'll drive past you,
Mm.
and if you sag off, they're just
With
gonna
the Dre threes,
yeah.
it's almost an indefensible team.
Because you'll give them some of those shots and then they'll make them, and you just throw your hands up in the air at that point, just like what can I do?
There's no giving them shots there. It's damn. If you give them a shot, you're giving them 3 points. That's all
Yeah,
there is to it.
I mean, it's some of the shots that team pulls off. I mean, it's like if anyone else in the NBA takes that shot, everyone's asking, what are they doing?
Yeah,
But when Steph or Clay take that shot, it's like, oh, it's a good shot.
yeah. And of course, everyone's freaking out that Stephen Curry. Of course, he hits another half-court 3-pointer. It's really it's a game with no defense. There's come on. Of
Yeah,
course, he's gonna hit it.
yeah. I mean, it's he's definitely one of the best shooters we've seen in NBA history. I don't know if I'd qualify him as the best in NBA history, but he's definitely
No,
one of the best. It's fun to watch him, just see what shots he takes and see what shots he makes.
how he
It's
drains them all.
yeah,
That was, I mean, that whole Saturday was something to behold. But before the night before that, you had the Rising Stars Challenge, which was entertaining in and of itself. Me being a Knick fan, 30 points for Kristaps Porzingis. How could you beat that in a Rising Star Challenge game? A game he's probably going to play in next year as well. That was definitely huge for the Knicks at least. But Andrew Wiggins, how can you argue with the play of Andrew Wiggins?
I mean, this Andrew Wiggins, he's a great player in the NBA and such a young talent. It's a it's fun to watch him. He's a high flyer and he just plays with so much energy. He got a 29 points for the world team. And funny enough, back-to-back NBA or not NBA, Rising Star MVPs for the
Yep.
Timberwolves, as Zach LaVine got it this year and Wiggins had it last year. So the Timberwolves are definitely looking up as a franchise with these two young studs.
You just think the U.S. still won this game, right?
Yeah,
But when you look at the world stats, Wiggins with 29, Porzingis with 30, Moutier with 30. You had two, almost three guys put up 30 points in that game, and you still lost. Levine put up 30 for the U.S. Clarkson put up 25, and you had Russell and Booker put up 22, and that in turn ended up being the difference. You had more guys in the mid 20s than the world.
yeah. I mean, there's a there's a lot of great players, a lot of great young players, obviously in this game, and I mean the U.S. I think they generally have the advantage in this game as far as player, skill
Mhm.
coming into this game. But I mean the world, they're starting to get some good players, like you mentioned. You got Wiggins, and then as Knicks fans call him, Porzingod.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some interesting players to watch here, and it'll definitely be interesting to see how that develops throughout the coming years.
I'll tell you, look at the stat line right now. Two of the guys that are really sticking out to me are Orlando Magic rookie Henzonia. 19 points, 7 assists, 2 steals. And then on the complete other end of the spectrum, Jahlil Okafor with 13 points and 3 assists. Isn't Okafor supposed to be like the next like Dwight Howard or the next big thing at center? And he only put up 13 points in this game. Granted, he went 6 for 7, but 13 points.
I mean, there's in this type of game, a lot of it is dominated by the guards and forwards and stuff. So the centers don't really. I mean, they can go off for some points, but they're more there to get the rebounds and do the stuff. I
Sure,
mean,
you say that, but Porzingis put up 30. Carl Anthony Towns put up 18.
well, also Jahlil Okafor is playing behind Karl Anthony Towns, so
He got 18 minutes.
I do
Towns
think
got
that he
22.
he underperformed as for in this game for what he's hyped up to be, but overall throughout the season he's been playing. He's been playing all right. He's been playing pretty good. I wouldn't say
As good as you can for being a 76er.
yeah. He's definitely having a team that struggles a lot throughout the season, but I mean he does. He's probably not used to playing with good players, to be honest. I mean,
As sad as that sounds, it's true.
he's probably not used to his teammates able to make shots. So I mean, he's probably got a little confused out there. But
And like I said, he did have a good night. He went 6 for 7 from the field. He went 1 for 1 from 3 point. So I mean, he did have a good day. He had a solid night shooting. It's just the point total didn't match up. I think he only had about 2 rebounds or so. So that definitely didn't match up either. Then, of course, the showcase was yesterday with the All-Star game being last night. Of course, the West winning 196-173 because it's the West. Why wouldn't they? Kobe's last All-Star game. Definitely think they got it right. Again, you going back to the NFL. The NFL didn't give Peyton Manning the MVP just because it's supposedly your last season. Same thing here. You don't give the All-Star Game MVP to Kobe. You give it to Russell Westbrook. I think that was the smart move.
Yeah, and it was completely deserved by Russell Westbrook with the stat line he had. With he goes here it says we got 31 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. I mean,
Yeah,
he's just been a freak of nature this entire year. But then you go to the other side with the East, and Paul George almost set an All-Star scoring record with 41 points in that game. Granted, not much defense is being played, but that's still, with all these
yeah,
superstars,
you
that's
can't,
still.
you don't knock 41 points in an All-Star game, even though you're not playing defense and the rest of it's questionable. But
Yeah,
you don't knock 41 points in an All-Star game.
yeah, he's definitely back from his injury. He's looking to prove that he is one of the best players in the NBA, and this is just another testament to that.
I mean, Curry had 26. He went 10 for 18. Of course, that the half court shot. Here's the one that really surprises me. Okay, I'm gonna read you a stat line. I'm gonna see if you can figure out who it is. 6 for 13, 1 for 5 from 3, 13 points, 7 assists, 4 turnovers.
Huh. I don't I don't know who that could be. Maybe Millsap?
That would be the stat line for LeBron James.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I mean,
6 for 13, 1 for 5 for 3. He was a minus 13 in the game.
that's tough. To, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's no real way to justify that performance.
There's Drummond had 16. You look at John Wall, who had 22. DeMar DeRozan had 18 in front of his home crowd. Carmelo Anthony, who we'll talk about a little later, he at least, I mean, had a somewhat of a decent game at 13 points. He shot 6 for 11, which is better than he'll ever shoot for the Knicks. But this again, it's the West League. The West is it right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty evident with the records and how dominant the West has been over the East. Granted, the East is starting to get a little bit stronger, but overall, the West has the advantage in pretty much every. That West has the advantage right now with just the teams that they have in there. It's you definitely want to be in the East to compete for a playoff spot right now.
And just think just the top 2 teams for the West alone could play for the NBA title. I mean, do you really think the San Antonio Spurs deserve to be in the final over the Cleveland Cavaliers at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the I think that it's a difficult situation for the Spurs because they have to get over get over the Warriors just to get to the finals. Well, I mean, the Cavs.
But they're going for a history-making season now.
Yeah. Well, the Cavs, I mean, there are some contenders in the East that could challenge for that top spot, but I mean, when you have a team with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, LeBron James with their new coach, they're starting to click a little bit more. I mean, the Cavs pretty much have an easy road to the finals, and then the Spurs are going to have to get through, the Thunder, the Warriors, and all those big players.
And it was the weekend went, I think, exactly as you would have expected the weekend to go. It was a fun-filled weekend. It had a lot of memorable moments. But when we return, we will talk about Kevin Love. We will talk about Carmelo Anthony, because those two are very much so linked, or were over the course of the weekend. We'll explain back after this.